During a family outing with Mom Kate Middleton and her siblings this week, the 8-year-old enjoyed making s'mores alongside the Princess of Wales, Prince George, and Prince Louis while participating in the big help out.
Throughout his entire life, Prince George, the eldest child of Prince William and Catherine, Princess of Wales, has been a primary focus of public attention. Royal watchers and admirers from all over the world have been paying close attention to every single second of his life because he is destined to become the King of England. Nevertheless, despite the fact that the entire world has been awestruck by his charisma and elegance in public appearances, very few people could have anticipated the moment that just recently took place. This moment cemented his presence not only as a young royal, but also as a future leader in the making. The speech that Prince George gave at a significant public event that was attended by influential figures from all over the world left the audience speechless. The event was attended by influential figures from all over the world, not because he is a member of the royal family, but rather because of the profound wisdom, maturity, and sincere conviction with which he expressed himself. The moment was truly remarkable. George, who was only 11 years old at the time, demonstrated a level of understanding and compassion that was far beyond his years. As a result, he received a standing ovation from a crowd that included seasoned diplomats, thought leaders, and even his own family. In the speech, topics such as climate change, unity, and the significance of compassion in leadership were discussed. These are all topics that have a profound impact on the world we live in today. His words served as a potent reminder that the legacy of the royal family is currently undergoing a transformation, with Prince George exemplifying a new era of leadership that is characterized by empathy and forward thinking. The citizens of the country were captivated not only by the content of his speech, but also by his poise and the confidence with which he delivered it.
Well, for me, all the things that come from children who have obviously spent hours of work on paintings, pictures, cards, anything like that, and things they've baked at home.
Those who observe royal affairs couldn't help but draw parallels between his demeanor and that of his late grandmother, Princess Diana, as well as his beloved father, Prince William. In the same way that both of them were renowned for their capacity to connect with people on a profoundly emotional level, it would appear that Prince George is following in their footsteps. His address not only demonstrated his potential to become a monarch in the future, but it also established him as a young leader who is aware of the significance of his role in influencing the development of a more favorable future. Specifically, what was it that Prince George said that left the audience in a state of awe? Which aspects of his journey as a royal and as a symbol of hope for future generations have been influenced by this particular moment? Stay tuned as we delve into the specifics of this momentous occasion and investigate the extraordinary potential of this young royal who stunned an entire nation with just a few words that came from the heart. When Prince George was a young child, he was the firstborn child of Prince William and Catherine, Princess of Wales. Since then, he has been prepared for the role of king that he will eventually play. George's life has been a delicate balance of maintaining his childhood innocence while gradually being introduced to the responsibilities of his future. This has been the case throughout his life, which has been spent growing up under the watchful eyes of the public and the media. The weight of history, tradition, and the expectations of an entire nation is weighed down on each and every step that he takes and each and every milestone that he reaches. Ever since the announcement of his birth, George has been a representation of the continuity that the British monarchy strives to maintain. He represents not only the future of the royal family, but also the future of a nation that relies on its monarchy as a symbol of unity and stability. He is the third in line to the throne, so he is the person who represents the future of the royal family. This combination of responsibilities is reflected in his upbringing. Despite the fact that his parents have made it a priority to give him a childhood that is as typical as possible, they have also made it a point to make sure that he is aware of the significance of his participation. The public appearances that George has made have provided glimpses of his maturing body of knowledge. His demeanor reflects a young boy who is both aware of his unique position and eager to learn, whether it be through attending official events, participating in charitable activities, or simply showing curiosity about the world. His demeanor reflects this. While attending events alongside his parents and siblings, he has frequently been compared to his father, Prince William, who navigated a similar path as a young royal in the public eye. This comparison has generated a lot of attention. That Prince George is able to successfully bridge the gap between tradition and modernity is one of the most fascinating aspects of his journey. Not only is the monarchy steeped in centuries-old traditions, but it is also adjusting to meet the requirements of a world that is changing at a rapid pace. In the midst of this development, George is the focal point. In the future, it is anticipated that members of his generation of royals will be more approachable, more transparent, and more connected to the issues that are important to the general public. He is already stepping into this role, addressing contemporary challenges with a fresh perspective, as evidenced by his speech, which stunned the nation. His speech is a clear example of how he is already accomplishing this. Those who follow the royal family have observed that George's upbringing reflects a conscious effort on the part of his parents to prepare him for the responsibilities that come with leadership. He has been encouraged to investigate topics such as social justice and environmental conservation, which are topics that are becoming increasingly important to younger generations. By addressing these concerns at an early stage, George is not only acquiring the skills necessary to become a leader, but he is also developing a sense of empathy and purpose that will serve as the foundation for his reign. Prince George, who will one day become king, has already demonstrated that he possesses the qualities of a visionary and unifying leader. His speech was a moment that brought attention to his potential and reminded the world of the significance of cultivating leaders who comprehend the significance of compassion, action, and vision. The occurrence that marked the beginning of Prince George's rise to prominence as a potential future leader was one that was of great significance. It was a gathering of influential figures from all over the world, including politicians, environmental activists, philanthropists, and thought leaders, all coming together to discuss the pressing challenges that the world is currently facing. The event was held at a historic venue in the central area of London. The purpose of the evening was to encourage unity and motivate people to take action on a variety of issues, including global inequality, mental health, and conditions related to climate change. As people in the audience took their seats, the atmosphere in the room was filled with a palpable sense of anticipation. This was not merely another event on the royal calendar. Rather, it was an opportunity to hear from influential people and people who are constantly making changes about the future of our society and our planet. Everyone's attention was drawn to the fact that Prince George was included in the array of speakers that were scheduled to speak. Not only was he the youngest speaker, but he was also the most unexpected.
They make every effort that they can to give him those experiences that every little boy, no matter who they are, deserves to have.
He was only 11 years old. The fact that Prince George was present at the event carried a great deal of significance because he was the oldest child of Prince William and Catherine. Although he had previously participated in public engagements, this particular event was a watershed moment for him because it was his very first solo speech at an event of this magnitude. A lot of thought went into deciding whether or not to include George. This was a moment for him to step into the spotlight and showcase the values and vision that have been instilled in him from a young age, while his parents, who have always been protective of their children's privacy, believed that this was the right time for him to do so. A podium was positioned in the middle of the stage, and the backdrop in front of it was the crest of the royal family. The stage was set with elegance and simplicity. In the hushed conversations that took place among the guests, they speculated about what the young prince might say. Is he going to concentrate on climate change, which is a problem that his father and grandfather have been fighting for many years? On the other hand, would he surprise everyone by presenting a novel viewpoint, one that effectively addressed the hopes and concerns of his generation? There was a noticeable increase in the level of energy in the room as the evening progressed. The tone was set by speeches delivered by seasoned leaders, each of whom tackled difficult issues with extreme passion and a sense of urgency. It was obvious that Prince George was the focus of everyone's attention. After his name was finally revealed, there was complete silence among the audience members. There was a flurry of activity, with cameras clicking, phones being raised, and every eye turned towards the stage. George, who was dressed in a sophisticated suit that was tailored to his age, walked onto the stage with an air of quiet confidence. It was a reflection of the poise and preparation that had gone into this moment that he possessed a maturity in his demeanor that belied his years. Prior to beginning, he took a brief pause to take in the surroundings of the room. Even though the audience had no idea what to anticipate, it became immediately apparent that this was not a typical speech not long after it began. The events that transpired after that would leave them in a state of awe, thereby establishing Prince George's position as a future leader. As soon as Prince George went up to the podium, there was complete silence in the room. Many people in the audience were curious about what this young royal could possibly say, that would resonate in a room full of experienced diplomats, activists, and leaders. The anticipation that was in the air was almost tangible. The speech that was delivered over the next few minutes was nothing short of extraordinary. It not only captivated the audience in the room, but it also quickly became the topic of conversation across the country. Beginning with a composed and heartfelt acknowledgement of the significance of the event and the role that those in attendance played, the young prince began his speech. "Tonight we are gathered not just as leaders and thinkers, but as individuals who care deeply about the future of our world," he began, his voice steady and clear. "We are truly concerned about the future of our world." Despite the fact that he was only 11 years old, George could speak with the poise of someone much older, which immediately drew the attention of his audience. The speech that George gave touched on topics that were relevant to people of all ages. He emphasized the utmost importance of addressing climate change, highlighting the impact that it would have on the world that he and his contemporaries would inherit. The long-standing environmental advocacy of Prince William and King Charles was mentioned in his statement. "I've learned from my parents and my grandfather how important it is to care for our planet," he said, referring to the parents and grandfather. "But this isn't just about our future. It's about the actions we take right now to ensure that the natural world continues to be beautiful and maintain its equilibrium for everyone." Not only did the content of his speech stand out, but the sincerity with which he delivered it was definitely something that stood out. In his presentation, he related a number of personal anecdotes, one of which was about the time he and his siblings, Princess Charlotte and Prince Louis, planted a tree. "As I was thinking about how small it was, I couldn't help but wonder how much longer it would take for it to grow," he said with a smile. "However, my father told me that every significant change begins with a small step, and that is why it is so important to take action right now, regardless of how insignificant the effort may appear to be." George did not shy away from discussing more weighty subjects either. During a period of discord, he spoke about the importance of compassion and unity. His tone was solemn as he delivered the following statement: "The world feels like it's growing apart in so many ways. However, we all reside in the same house, have the same aspirations, and are obligated to look out for one another under the same circumstances. In order to make the world a better and more compassionate place, I hope that my generation will be able to bring people together." Additionally, the young prince spoke about the significance of mental health, which is a cause that his parents, William and Catherine, have been staunch advocates for. When asked about being strong, he stated, "Being strong does not mean pretending everything is fine when it isn't. It entails expressing a desire for assistance, providing mutual support, and being present for the people who are important to us." During the course of the speech, George's self-assurance increased. His natural charisma and genuineness shone through, making it impossible for anyone to dismiss him as merely a child reading a script that had been prepared for him. His words carried weight because they originated from a place of genuine care and understanding, qualities that struck a chord with the audience on a profound level. The room was completely silent by the time George reached the end of his speech, and everyone was waiting for him to finish speaking on every single word. The statement that he made was, "We can't wait for tomorrow to make the world better. We need to begin today, as a group, because every single action, regardless of how insignificant it may seem, has the potential to generate a ripple of hope that can transform everything." As soon as George stepped back from the podium, there was an outpouring of applause from the audience. He received a standing ovation that lasted for several minutes, and people rose to their feet to show their appreciation. His parents, Prince William and Princess Catherine, were beaming with pride, and his grandparents, King Charles and Queen Camilla, were exchanging emotional glances with each other. Not only was the speech a personal victory for George, but it was also a moment that brought to everyone's attention the potential for hope and leadership that lies within the next generation. Upon closer inspection, it became abundantly clear that the young prince was not merely being groomed to take the throne. Rather, he was already establishing himself as a leader in his own right. The speech that Prince George delivered not only enthralled the audience in the room, but it also sparked a whirlwind of reactions all over the country and beyond. The applause that was coming from the people who were attending the event was just the beginning. Within a matter of hours, clips of his speech were widely shared across various social media platforms, which sparked conversations and garnered praise from individuals all over the world. It was a significant but intimate gathering that quickly turned into a global phenomenon, with headlines everywhere proclaiming the future king's impressive debut as a public speaker. The gathering had begun as a significant gathering. The responses of the general public were overwhelmingly positive. People were amazed by his composure, wisdom, and sincerity, and social media platforms were buzzing with hashtags such as Our Prince George Speech and Har Future King expressed their admiration for him. One user on Twitter made the observation that he is only 11 years old, but he speaks like a seasoned leader. Another person wrote, "If this is the kind of leadership the future holds, I feel hopeful for the next generation." Many people commented on the personal anecdotes that George shared, with the story about planting trees having a profound impact on them. It was a simple yet powerful illustration of how meaningful change can begin with actions that are relatively uncomplicated. A prompt response was also given by the media. The story was picked up by major news outlets from all over the world, with headlines such as "Prince George shines as the future of the monarchy" and "The young royal who stole the show." Pundits carefully dissected every aspect of the speech, from the themes that were carefully selected to George's delivery and demeanor. Commentators on the royal family have drawn parallels between his poise and that of his father, Prince William, while others have pointed out the striking similarities between his ability to connect emotionally with an audience and that of his passing grandmother, Princess Diana. The significance of the moment was so great that even those who were critical of the monarchy couldn't help but acknowledge it. Many people acknowledged that George's speech marked a promising shift towards a monarchy that is more approachable, compassionate, and engaged with contemporary issues. This was also the case despite the fact that some people questioned whether or not the royal family is still relevant in today's world. In an era in which younger generations are demanding action and empathy from their leaders, the young prince's ability to discuss topics such as climate change and mental health with authenticity struck a chord with a great deal of people. Messages from parents and young people who felt inspired by George's words were among the most heartfelt responses that were received. A great number of parents reported that they had watched the speech with their children, who were moved by the prince's call for them to come together and take action. One parent made the following observation: "My 10-year-old said, 'If Prince George can plant a tree to help the planet, then so can I.'" That is the kind of role model we need. Schools and youth organizations even started incorporating excerpts from his speech into discussions about leadership and social responsibility. Public displays of pride were also made by members of the royal family. It was accompanied by a heartfelt message that read, "We couldn't be prouder of George today." Prince William and Princess Catherine shared a behind-the-scenes photo of George practicing his speech. A rare statement was issued by King Charles, who referred to his grandson's speech as a moment of inspiration for the family and the nation. His words served to remind all of us of the power that lies within hope and action. As the excitement surrounding the speech continued to grow, it became abundantly clear that this was not merely a moment that would be remembered fondly by the young prince. Rather, it was a moment that would be defining for the monarchy. Prince George's words served as a beacon of hope during a time of uncertainty and division. They demonstrated that leadership is not about age or experience, but rather about having a heart, empathy, and a vision for a better future.
William and Kate for preparing Prince George for his role as future king while still managing to ensure he has a fun, normal childhood.
The speech that Prince George gave was more than just a demonstration of poise and eloquence. It was a masterclass in leadership that was far beyond his years. George demonstrated that leadership is not about authority or power. Rather, it is about connection, empathy, and inspiring others to take action. This was demonstrated by the content of his message as well as the manner in which he delivered it. One of the most important takeaways from George's speech was the importance he placed on the cumulative effect of seemingly insignificant actions. His anecdote about planting a tree with his siblings struck a chord with many people because it translated the intangible problem of climate change into something that could be understood and experienced. It was a message that encouraged people of all ages to think about what they can do in their own lives to make a difference, and it served as a reminder that even efforts that appear to be insignificant can contribute to meaningful change. The fact that George was able to strike a balance between sincerity and a sense of urgency was another important takeaway. He emphasized the significance of taking action right now, rather than waiting until tomorrow, in order to address the urgent problems that are currently confronting the world. This rallying cry, which he delivered with genuine concern and optimism, struck a chord with the people who were listening to him. This was a resounding illustration of how effective leaders inspire their followers through the use of hope rather than fear. In addition, George was a shining example of the significance of empathy and leadership. His emphasis on mental health demonstrated his comprehension of the challenges that a great number of people are confronted with. This is a cause that his parents have been staunch supporters of, and it is one that is becoming increasingly important in today's society. Through addressing the need for compassion and support, he demonstrated that genuine leadership is about caring for other people and cultivating a sense of community throughout the community. The willingness of George to step into the spotlight and use his platform to amplify important messages was perhaps the most profound lesson that could be learnt from his speech. Despite the fact that he was still young, he displayed bravery and a sense of responsibility that was not consistent with his age. Because of this single act, young people all over the world are provided with a powerful example that demonstrates that anyone, regardless of their age or status, is capable of being a positive force in the world. The remarks made by Prince George served as a timely reminder that the characteristics that distinguish great leaders, vision, empathy, and the capacity to inspire, can manifest themselves at any age. Not only did his words strike a chord with those present, but they also laid the groundwork for a future king who is aware of the significance of leading with both heart and purpose. The powerful speech that Prince George delivered was more than just a moment in history. It was a glimpse into the future of executive leadership. At the tender age of 11, he conveyed a message of optimism, solidarity, and commitment to action that reverberated far beyond the confines of the event itself. It was through his words that the nation was reminded that leadership is not about titles or age. Rather, it is about having the courage to stand up, speak out, and inspire others to likewise do the same. It wasn't just the young prince who was thrust into the limelight that made this extraordinary moment so remarkable. It was a demonstration of the principles that his family had instilled in him, as well as a reflection of the development of the role that the modern monarchy plays. The example that Prince George set for us demonstrated that even in times of uncertainty, leadership that is founded on empathy, purpose, and vision has the ability to forge connections between individuals. Regarding the remarkable speech that Prince George delivered, what are your thoughts? Do you feel the same level of inspiration that we did from it? In the comments section below, please share your thoughts. We would be delighted to hear from you. In the event that you found this narrative to be inspiring, we would appreciate it if you would give this video a thumbs up, share it with your friends, and don't forget to subscribe to our channel for additional incredible tales. So that you never miss an update, make sure to ring the notification bell. Your presence is greatly appreciated, and please keep in mind that even the most insignificant voices can have a significant impact. Have a good time in the next video.